Welcome to Money Making Conversations. I'm your host, Rushion McDonald. Each Money Making Conversation talk show is about entrepreneurship and entertainment. I provide the consumer and business owner access to celebrities, CEOs, entrepreneurs, and industry decision makers. It is important to understand that everybody travels a different path to success. That is because your brand is different. The challenges you face in your life are different. So stop reading other people's success stories and start writing your own. Now, you can be motivated by their success because their stories can offer direction and help you reach your goals through your planning and committed effort. The Money Making Conversation interviews provide relatable information to the listener about career and financial planning, entrepreneurship, motivation, leadership, overcoming the odds, and how to live a balanced life. Now, let's get to our interview. My next guest is the Vice President of Business Development and Operations for Live Nation Urban. The company was established to better cater to underserved audiences by developing original urban-focused events, festival brands, and strategic content partnerships for emerging, established, and classic hip-hop, R&B, and gospel artists. Please welcome to Money Making Conversation, Brandon Pankey.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Had to get there, man. Had to put a little love out there for you. Let everybody know who I'm talking to. You know,
sounded amazing.
I'm telling you this, Brandon. When I do that intro about Live Nation, we all know that's a brand. So tell us about the Live Nation brand.
Sure. I mean, Live Nation is the global leader in live entertainment. I mean, anywhere you go around the world, if you're looking any concert that you're making a ticket purchase to, more than likely it's a concert from Live Nation. And so, you know, with that being said, you know, Live Nation Urban was developed in 2017. Really to focus on developing events and platforms and emerging artists in hip-hop, R&B, and gospel. You know, Live Nation is a phenomenal company, but there was there was white space, you know, particularly in this, you know, hip-hop and R&B and gospel genres to really develop new platforms.
Mm-hmm. No, it's really interesting that you're saying that because of the fact that, you know, my history was Steve Harvey. So, you know, I promoted all of his concerts when I managed him from 2000 to 2016. So, going into the venue, promoting the venue, getting the right acts, getting the right ticket price, because that's what I catered to. You know, before Steve became Mr. Family Feud, you know, our audience was an urban audience. So, you know, we selling out, you know, different venues all over the country, and that was our audience base. And there is a particular way they have to be treated and they have to be promoted to. Tell us about it.
Well, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you can't use a cookie-cutter marketing plan, you know, for a hip-hop audience that we may use for a pop audience or for a rock audience. There's a way that you have to cater to that audience. There's a way that you need to speak to that audience. And quite honestly, that's another reason why Live Nation Urban, you know, was created because, you know, we are African-Americans in this space that understand other African-Americans. And so it's easier for us to market. It's easier for us to come up with ideas that make sense for this particular audience. And so we're here. We're established, and we're really doing some amazing things going into our third year.
Now, it was something interesting you said. You said strategic content partnerships for emerging, established, and classic hip-hop, R&B, and gospel artists. Let's talk about the emerging. What do you consider an emerging artist?
An emerging artist to us, you know, it's a couple things. One, it's an artist that may have just gotten signed to a label but doesn't understand what it takes to have a live touring career. Mm-hmm. See, there's a difference between going on stage and performing live and having a sustaining touring career. It's a bunch of artists that get up on stage and they may have, you know, a year of success, but then after that year, what happens next when that audience dies down? What we try to do is really cultivate artists so that they have a core fan base, build those artists up from clubs and theaters. And so 5 years from that moment, they're now in amphitheaters and arenas, you know, hopefully one day stadiums. It's about really developing artists and creating a sustaining career for that artist. Because quite honestly, you know, 80 to 85% of an artist's revenue now comes from touring.
Come on now.
And so if that, you know, aspect of their career is not solidified or is not strong, guess what? That artist, you know, is not going to last long in a very, very cutthroat industry.
You know, it's really funny you say that because, you know, I did the Neighborhood Awards many years. Steve and I did it honoring what we consider stars in the neighborhood. And we always had established talent. You know, like OJ's is established, you know, Babyface was established, you know, the New Edition. These are established people. So when they, like you said, they make their money on tour. And so, and I would go to them, I would go, hey, man, I just need one song. They go, we're not going to do one song. I said, the money's not going to change. No. You know, from Charlie Wilson on up. I always wind up having to give them 20 minutes because they would say this. They would say, look, Rushion, what we cannot have happen is, you know, because you're going to put our name up on a banner. You're going to put our name and you're going to promote us. We can't have somebody come in that arena and go, OJ's only did one song, man. That's messed up.
Mm-hmm.
He said, bad news travels fast. Good news stays with the people, and they may share it or they may not share it. And that's where you talk about established talent. Established talent have to hold on to their reputation, and because that's where they make their bottom line.
That's right. I can't imagine if they did one song at that event, you know, at the neighborhood, and then someone saw it and was like, oh, they only did one song. So when they come back to that city,
yes,
and like, oh, well, the OJs are New Edition, they're performing. Well, they only did one song last time. I'm not paying $100 or whatever that dollar amount is if they don't put on a good show, and that's why they do it, because they've taken years to build up that fan base, and one performance could make that fan base, you know, decline, unfortunately.
In that particular city, for sure, and also with social media, you know, people, you go online all the time. People hold up a camera and they're videotaping, and they have some comment they might be saying, this is the only song they did. Next thing you know, that can go viral, and that can mess up. Next thing you know, they're explaining themselves throughout the whole touring process. When they're doing the radio interview, no, we're going to do the entire concert. Who needs that headache? So with that being said, the reason I brought that up is that there has to be, yes, you have the Live Nation brand associated with you, but there has to be a trust factor put in place for you to get the talent, especially established talent, to work with you.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is, you know, yes, we have the Live Nation Urban brand behind us, but ultimately it's about relationships. And I'll say this to your listeners. In any field you're in any industry you're in, I'll argue that 80% of your job is building, sustaining, and having trusting relationships with people. Because ultimately there are a bunch of people that can do what I do, but if we don't trust each other or work well together, it doesn't matter. And so relationship building is the fundamental, you know, I say one of the cores or tenets of being in music or being in any industry, as I just stated. And so, yes, to your point, yes, we have the Live Nation brand, but they have to trust us and know that we're going to make sure that we put them in the best position possible to have the best produced, you know, the most quality performance so that they can go out and give a great show to their fans.
You know, it's really interesting because, you know, you really are talking about a lot here. When you're talking about classic hip hop, okay, then you're talking about R&B, and then you're talking about gospel artists. Now, you know, do you do anything with comedians?
Not yet, but it's coming.
Oh, I know it has to be coming now because that's. You know, I'm starting to see, especially in Atlanta. You know, State Farm Arena. Every time I look up, every month, a big show is coming through town here, and so. But it's not. I'm not hearing Live Nation Urban tied to that at all. So that's definitely a market that's out there.
And let me say this in regards to comedy. So we're building a brand. It's called Black Thought from the Roots. Actually hosts a comedy event that we've had in Philadelphia. We've had it in the Montreal Comedy Festival. We've had it at the New York Comedy Festival. So it's a brand that we're building. But outside of that, we are definitely planning to get more into comedy as well. Sorry to interrupt you.
Well, no. This is great. This is great information because of the fact that I'm just letting everybody know how you guys operate as far as and how you're taking a particular interest. Because I was about to slide over to the gospel artists. Now, I remember several years ago I did a tour with Kirk Franklin and Steve Harvey. And Steve Harvey was not going to use any profane language, but on stage doing this tour. And it was the most difficult tour for me to do from a promotional standpoint because I really didn't know my audience. You know, I knew who Steve's audience was, but who exactly were the gospel audience? Where do you go to reach these people? Because, you know, people say, well, just advertise on the gospel stations. I did that. But it wasn't until I just advertised on just the regular stations that I got the response I had because of the fact that church people, everybody. Church people are church people. Church people listen to R&B. Church people listen to hip-hop. Church people are church people. And it was because of, that's the whole part of what you have to do as a leader in this particular brand is understand how to reach your market. And that's what you were saying. This is why it's necessary to have this particular brand under Live Nation Urban brand.
Correct. And just so you know, so in the gospel space, to your point, we've actually partnered with Kirk Franklin for his Exodus Music and Arts Festival, which is in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, that's my favorite. That's my favorite. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. In its third year, we're going to sell it out again this year, and we're looking to expand into other markets in 2020. And so, to your point, it's not only going, on the gospel stations. We actually go into the churches, but guess what? We're on the regular urban AC, adult contemporary stations as well. Because the Jill Scott audience is also, they may be at a Jill Scott concert Saturday, but they're going to church on Sunday.
Yes.
So you can't neglect we're all, some of us have certain religious beliefs, but ultimately we're all people and we all love music. So, you can't, discern the quote unquote gospel audience from a traditional concert going audience, because we're all going to concerts.
Well, it's really great that you brought up Kirk Franklin and the concert festival that he does in Dallas and May, because I've been promoting it the last couple of years with him. So in a way, we've had a relationship, and I didn't even know it there, Brandon.
How about that?
Which is a beautiful thing. Because my whole thing in establishing this brand of money making conversation was to create. It's about relationship, like you spoke about earlier. It's about connecting the dots and giving individuals a platform, individuals like you, to be able to speak your brand, build your brand, communicate why your brand is important and how it affects a lot of people strategically, which is also part of your introduction, because that's what you're trying to do, create these relationships with entertainment that really reaches the core audience that's really demanding it, but oftentimes doesn't get it.
Correct. And I think, just to give you part of our strategy, and I think, I want to give a special shout out to the president of Live Nation Urban, Sean G, for really having the vision to have this. What we want to do is create opportunities for artists that may not have those opportunities. When you look at the festival landscape, for example, you'll see your Coachellas, you see your Bonnaroos, Lollapaloozas, but what you don't see, these festivals, they cater to every audience. You may have 3 R&B acts, you may have 4 rock acts, you may have 4 pop acts. It's kind of a smorgasbord of different, artists, but nothing that super serves a particular demographic.
Right.
So what we've done are create festivals, create events, create platforms that super serve emerging hip hop, classic hip hop, R&B, emerging R&B, gospel artists, emerging, different platforms, different festivals for different artists. So now, in, let's call it 2021, if I'm a hip hop artist, I have my own, you can go to Live Nation Urban and you can be on 10 events in a year, where in the past maybe you were hoping to get on 1 or 2 festivals or 1 or 2 different events and platforms. And that's why we were, really created, to give opportunities for underserved audiences.
Well, it's important you say that, because the gospel artists were really going back performing in mega churches a few years ago, because they had kind of lost their voice in the arenas, and the right promoters didn't trust it or didn't do the right packaging to get them back out there being appreciated. And so it's important that you understand the brand, you understand the ability to be able to grow this brand. Now, you said a name right there, Sean G. It's the same Sean G from Philadelphia?
Yes, it is.
That's my man right there, Sean G. Many times I've worked with that young man selling our concerts. But come on now, that's your fearless leader over there?
That's it.
I love it, man.
Been working with Sean since 2006 and helping to build, what we have today.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you something, man. A special individual. I know I used to come to Sean for talent, and he, like I said, I'm an emerging promoter, and I had an emerging brand, and he would work with me because I had the ability to play music on the air too. That helped the relationship as well. But he understood the relationship, and so to see that you have Sean G as the overarching visionary of this whole process with Live Nation Urban, Live Nation Urban, it's congratulations, man. Congratulations. When we come back, I want to talk more about some more program projects you have. This app you have, this 12th annual Roots Picnic that's coming up. A lot more to talk about with my man, Brandon Pankey, Live Nation Urban.
Money Making Conversations continues online at www.moneymakingconversations.com, and follow Money Making Conversations on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time you stop thinking about your dreams and put some plans into action.
Hi, this is Rushion McDonald. I'm speaking to the Vice President of Business Development and Operations for Live Nation Urban. The company was established to better cater to underserved audiences by developing original urban-focused events, festival brands, and strategic content partnerships for emerging, established, and classic hip-hop, R&B, and gospel artists. My man, Brandon Pankey. Hey, Brandon, it's really interesting when I see, because I see a lot more hip-hop concerts out there now. And I'm going to tell you, I'm old school, and at one time, it was like you couldn't insure a hip-hop artist concert.
Right.
So, really, they be tearing up the dressing room. They light the stage on fire. They were like bad boys of ignorance when I was coming up. And now I see more and more concerts. Are the artists more mature? Are the artists smarter? Or what is going on? Why are we having such productive hip-hop shows now?
I think it's a lot of things. One, I think promoters have welcomed hip-hop so much, because here's the thing, hip-hop is, always in the top streaming genres globally. And
right.
We have the numbers now in hip-hop to back up why, hip-hop is important. Two, if you go to, hip-hop, especially for younger hip-hop shows or concerts, that crowd is super diverse. It's not just, black folk out there. It's every race is out there,
yes.
Young, old, watching hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
So there's money to be made in it. Three, there's just smarter managers.
Mm-hmm.
I think, the management teams now are so savvy and understand that each hip hop artist and artists in general are brands. And so they're really building and cultivating those brands to really make them stand out. And then social media, hip hop artists are now coming out with content. I've seen some artists come out with multiple albums or multiple mixtapes in a year, and that wasn't happening in the past. And so there's so much content. There's so much, you can see their personalities on social media, and promoters are so open to it. I don't see hip hop necessarily going down from a show perspective anytime soon.
What originally I enjoyed and I was excited about to bring you on the show was that, I always preach multiple streams of income. Multiple opportunities brings longevity, and, one check is cool, but hey, several checks, and especially checks when you're getting them while you sleep, is beautiful. Now, in addition to your duties at Live Nation Urban, you're also currently relaunching your app, the TourStar?
Yeah. So, TourStar was an idea I had in 2011, actually, and I was, dealing with a particular artist on tour, and I was like, man, I wish there was a way that people could see, what we do, in a fun way. And so it's like, well, let's develop a music simulation game that talks about touring, taking an artist from, playing in his or her garage and making it to an arena level superstar. And so we created this game in 2014. It debuted in the top 10 on the Apple music charts. Did really well. Mm-hmm. We added Questlove as a partner in the game, and we're actually in the process of getting the company sold and then relaunching the app by the end of the year, kind of a version 2 with a bigger gaming company. So I'm excited about that. And to your point, it's really about doing, different streams of income. And I love music.
Yes.
But I think there are opportunities not only in gaming, but in content, besides the live space, taking music as kind of the hub and branching out into different areas. And that's what excites me about having the freedom and really working in a space where I have the opportunity to be an entrepreneur, as well as work with Live Nation. So it's really the best of both worlds.
Well, you're not only an entrepreneur, you're a manager.
Yes.
So let's talk about these titles that you got working on you. You're Vice President of Business Development and Operations. You're developing apps, and you're managing talent. So tell us about that last leg, because I know something about managing. Because I know that's a lot of people that title seems very simple. But managing, man, I'm telling you something. When that phone rings, you got to pick it up. You got to be a brother, sister, preacher, security, a loan officer sometimes. You got to be a cook, buy a meal you weren't ready to buy. You got to be an enforcer.
A therapist.
I forgot that. Hey, Brandon, I apologize. I should have started with therapists.
Let me tell you, you know what? It's so funny because you have to be all those things. In fact, the artist I manage recently came out with her first single. Her name is Brianna Cash. She signed to in a joint venture with Interscope and a super producer named Pop Wanzel. She's from Philadelphia as well. And, she's a phenomenal artist. And she'll tell you, I did not want to be her manager. I said management is an 82-hour-a-day job. I didn't have the time to do it. And I kind of just fell into it. And she now calls me her brother/dad.
Yeah.
And it's because you care so much about the artist or artists that you're working with from the managerial side. I couldn't leave her now if I wanted to, because I understand the value of who she is as a person and my value in her life and making sure she gets to a certain place in her career, and not just in her career, but I actually care more about, her personal life than I do the career. I think the career stuff is going to happen because she has a label behind her, because, we have a smart team with her, but really making sure on a day-to-day basis she's okay, because I think that gets lost in the careers of every artist. That gets lost in the careers of executives of any industry. I think we really, and I'm kind of diverting myself, but we really need to focus on mental health for individuals, because I don't think we pay enough attention to that, especially in high-stress jobs and careers.
Absolutely. And I liken bad managers to bad parents, because these individuals who trust us, who come to us, or we come to them and we convince them that we're the right person to steer their career, to keep their life right, to make sure they're talking to the right people, showing up. Because especially with social media, you got to be you got to monitor social media, you got to monitor the post. So much that goes into your head, and some of the stress that you have to take on, and then to stay level-headed about it and being able to deliver an answer. That's the key too, being a manager. When they ask you a question, don't stutter or don't go, I'll be right back with you. Because they're coming to you because that's the final leg where they need the answer, and they need that relaxed moment or that confirmed moment that they're doing the right things in their life. So I definitely had to bring that up, because that level of diversity really lets me know that you're looking at your life from a global perspective. You're not looking at this life as one opportunity, but many opportunities. How do you take on that persona or that ability to multitask?
I think I've just always had that ability. I knew that, probably at this point, if I was just doing one thing, I would probably lose my mind, because that's not who I am. Like, I want to learn, and I want to be a part of so many different things within entertainment, and, something we didn't touch on is, hey, I'm also, a part of a nonprofit where we teach students about the business of entertainment, because it has to be, to me, it's very holistic. I'm managing, I'm working in live music, we're working in gaming and other special events, and then I have to make sure that I give back as well, particularly the young Black and brown kids who don't have the access or opportunity, or that I have had. And so when you give that, now you can create more of a diverse workforce. Now you're actually creating smarter managers of color. Now you're also creating the next generation of Live Nation urban employees. And so it comes full circle. So to that point, I wake up knowing I want to be great. I wake up knowing that, I believe that all of us, have God within us. And so we have, our greatest potentials within ourselves. And so why limit ourselves? Why, there are people that were very close to me who said, way back, don't go into music. Music is a hobby, not a career. Why are you doing this? Right. And you have to all the time, believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, what's the point? What's the point in doing any of this? And I think that's how some of us get lost sometimes, because we lose that belief in who we are and the things that we're great at.
Well, it's really fun that you brought that up, because I love IBM to be a stand-up comic, so you understand the questions and the doubters that came out about that little career change. But what happens is you can't ever ask anybody for advice about your decision if they are not living that lifestyle. In other words, if somebody's in banking or somebody's a IT person, don't ask them about you changing your career into entertainment. They will revert to what they know. And and if they don't know, the thing that annoys me most about people, instead of saying you should seek that out or seek advice from somebody who can answer that properly, they're answering and go, I don't think that's a good idea.
Yep.
How you gonna make money? Are you sure? I heard. Then I heard coming in. As soon as somebody say I heard, walk away, run. Because then now they just gossiping. Now they just delivering rumors to your potential career change here. But I wanted to tell you this, Brandon. I wasn't gonna forget about the the DASH program, because that's about balanced life. And that's why I always talk about on this show with my guests about that balanced life and the ability to give back. Because I give back at my university with scholarship programs and things like that. So the DASH program he's talking about is Destined to Achieve Successful Heights program, which prepares music education opportunities for students in high school throughout Philadelphia. So that to me gives me a full 360 about you. And I think that's important. I think that's a blessing. And you should always announce that, my friend, because that's important that you understand you're in this business to make money. You're in this business to develop a career. You're managing people. You got apps. You savvy. You're articulate. You're intelligent. But you also understand that you have to slow down and relax a little bit and see what else value or the value that God has given you to contribute to other people's lives. That's what you're doing, brother. That's a blessing.
No, thank you so much, man. And I'll tell you, one of the bigger stories, about DASH for me was working with a young man who had actually dropped out of school. Mm-hmm. And he, came to we had an after-school program in Northwest Philadelphia at a facility. And he would come there every day, even though he wasn't in school. And because of that program, he said, you know what, I'm going to go back and get my GED. And he's not in music, but he has a solid job and he's taking care of his family. And that's, to me, it wasn't about necessarily, hey, it's great if we can build the next music executives, but it's even better if we can just make you better people and make you want to get on the right path in life. And that's really the core of what DASH is about. And I always shout out the people who have helped develop these things. And that's Jerome Hips and Michael McAlter, who are both music managers. They co-founded the program. I came out of University of Penn and started interning for them in their recording studio.
Right.
And we started working on this music business program together. And now, not only are we teaching, but it's, we have developed a curriculum that's going to be implemented in high schools in Philadelphia in the 2021 school year, focused on the business of music. That's awesome. And that's legacy for me. And that's what it's about. And
I respect that, and I appreciate you. And I always know you have a friend in Rushion McDonald, not only because of the fact that you're a guy who's making a difference in the business, but also in the community. Now, I'll be remiss with Live Nation Urban has upcoming events coming up. Let's talk about this. The 12th annual Roots Picnic featuring the Roots, Meek Mill. Let you do your thing. Okay? I'm just set it up. The 12th annual Roots Picnic. Go.
Well, let me tell you, it's the 13th annual. We sold 25,000 tickets last year at the 12th annual. This year we expect to sell 30,000. Saturday, May 30th in Philadelphia. It's going to be a phenomenal event. We have, everyone from Meek Mill to Thundercat. We have the Reed podcast, Questlove Supreme podcast. We have the Baby. We have such a diverse palette of artists that are going to be there. Raekwon and Ghostface, Black Thought. I mean, it's a phenomenal festival. It's really, we call it a slice of Black culture, within Philadelphia. And we have folks all the way from D.C., New York. Everyone comes down. Absolutely. It's going to be about 30,000. It's phenomenal.
Is this a single-day event?
Single-day event. Mm-hmm. And it's just going to be crazy. We have another event, which we call the largest gathering of millennial African Americans in the world. It's the Broccoli City Music Festival in Washington, D.C. Shout out to Marcus Allen and Brandon McCarron, who helped really found this and put it together. And Live Nation Urban partnered with these two brothers, and it's again another festival that's sold out already. Mm-hmm. It's May 9th, 30,000 people, really touching on young millennial African Americans. And, we have Megan Thee Stallion and Roddy Ricch, the Baby, a lot of acts, Ari Lennox, just a phenomenal lineup. That's a one-day event in Washington, D.C. as well. We have the Exodus Music and Arts Festival with Kirk Franklin, Leandria Johnson, Donnie McClurkin, the reunion of Mary Mary. That's, Sunday, May 24th in Dallas, Texas. And we have a slew of other shows and partnerships that we are announcing very soon. So I'm excited about what we have and what we've done since 2017. I think we started with maybe 9 or 10 shows in 2017 when we started, and now in 2020 we'll have about 50 shows. So that's the power of what this brand has meant and what it's really done. Particularly in I would say in Black and brown communities in music.
Oh man, congratulations! And I know you slipped in that. The reunion of Mary Mary. Now, that's pretty big. Now, you kind of slipped that in now. That's pretty huge.
Listen, I didn't mean I was trying to get through it all, but it's big, and that's why Exodus was phenomenal this year.
Yeah, that's huge right there. The reunion.
Yes, sir.
Mary got Morning Drive. Erica Campbell, that's my girl. Again, thank you for coming to my show, Brandon. I appreciate you. You got a home now. This is a journey.
I appreciate that.
This is a journey.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. It was an honor.
Awesome. If you want to catch any more episodes of Money Making Conversation, go to moneymakingconversation.com. I'm Rushion McDonald. I'm your host.